What it do, 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 what it do. Peace, shalom, hotel, alafia, namaste. You hear me? Aloha. How you doing? What up? You hear me? What's poppin'? And all those other good greetings, you hear me? How y'all doing, man? I know it's been a minute, you know. I know it's been a minute, you know. I know it's been a minute. I hope everybody, y'all know what it is. Feeling good for no reason at all. You hear me? You know, so we ain't gone. You hear me? So you can't believe everything you hear. You know? And sometimes you can't believe everything you see. You dig? But I'm hard-headed, so I had to get burnt by the sun. You know. I had to get burnt by the sun, which just means sometimes when you want to make contact, you got to break contact. So in doing that, you know, I got burnt by the sun. You know, I got to see myself, and once you see yourself, you can't forget what you saw. We get to see a lot of things, but once we get to see ourselves, there's somebody listening. Once we get to see ourselves, you can't forget what you saw. You know, and that's what's beautiful about this journey called ascension. Because once you decide a spiritual path, it's a broader understanding. Once you start a spiritual path, regardless of what that spiritual path may be, if your soul feels drawn to it, you know, in the form of whatever it is that we practice, exercise, you hear me? To come into greater contact with ourselves. Once you start it, you can't look back. You know, and that's deep in so many ways. And the last time y'all, you know, I dropped a video, I probably ended or began it with mentioning All-Star Weekend at Stone Mountain. Well, All-Star Weekend at Stone Mountain occurred. You hear me? And Sawu was in the building, along with a whole bunch of people. You hear me? And that was a beautiful experience. You know. Especially for those of us who didn't appear there in family mode. It was a beautiful experience because it gave, regardless of who was there. See, because am I promoting it, you know, I let it be known that we are the celebrities. There ain't no celebrities unless the people are the celebrities. Because without the people, then who is the people that we give the attention that we give it, if we give them any attention? So everybody is a celebrity, everybody is a star, you know. And that was my attitude, that was my altitude prior to going, and that was my altitude once appearing. So in the space that I was being dealt with from the ancestors, you know, according to the mode that I was operating in, the mode of operandi, I got to see a lot of things that I ain't saying everybody else in attendance didn't get to see. But I got to see a lot of things that many people didn't get to see because, or due to the space that I was viewing it from, and in the space that I was allowing the ancestors to view through me, you know. And and the more I started paying attention to what was going on with what I was seeing, because I thought I was tripping with what I was seeing and what I was being shown, to the point that it was I'm just a vessel that's there, but it was some totally different things going on through me. So like the ancestors had me like in Judgment Day, in view of it all, in view of everyone there, you know. As far as those having internet success and those without, I was just seeing a whole different picture, and I was just seeing a whole different reason of being, according to all the beings that was on the top of that mountain, for those that made it on the top of that mountain. Because everybody that set an intention to make it up that mountain, they make it up that mountain, you know. But for those that did make it up that mountain, and the accomplishment that it represented, you know, to make it up that mountain, because it's something serious, you know. that mountain tried to break me 3, maybe 4 times, because every time you think you at the top, it's another top, and then every time you think you at the top again, you might have to swerve around a little bit, but it's another top, and then every time you think you at the top, it's another top. You hear me? So it take all you got. It take a very strong willpower, straight determination. You know, it take ability, you know, to push beyond the pain. You know, it take everything you got. You know, I could go on and on. That's why I had to, that's why I ain't plugged in, because I had to, you know, this pilgrimage that I've been on the last few weeks. What I thought was travel or vacation really turned into like a spiritual pilgrimage, you know. So I got an opportunity to visit a lot of places, the Rocky Mountains, you know, and prior to even getting to Stone Mountain, you know, I got an opportunity to visit a lot of places in between, and I went to understanding, you know, how I was being dealt with, in the way that I was being dealt with, according to what I had to do. Because what I had to do according to where my destination was, I had to get it done, no matter what, and I had to get it done in an accordingly time, you know, no matter what, prior to my birthday, you know. So even though I was operating freely, you know, my time, according to the places I was going to be, where I was going to be, you know, was designated, you know, and so forth and so on. But yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. But you know, when I got back to the home front, you know, I still had to take some days, you know, to myself, you know, prior to plugging back in, because I still had things to do, you know, in the time that I was away. So I had to, so from the day that I got back to the home front, I've been busy, you know. It's been consistent, and that's a beautiful thing. That's not a complaint. That's a beautiful thing, because, you know, if we don't grind, we don't eat, you know, or we don't work, we don't eat, you know, whatever sound more pleasurable, but they both mean the same thing, you So I've been busy since I've been back. But it's been, like I said, not a complaint. It's a beautiful thing. If you busy, you got something coming in. You hear me? But yeah, man, it was an experience. It was an experience. And I said a few times, and shout out to BCU, my extended family. I met some fellow family and Indians in person. So that was a beautiful experience, and that was my main task amongst it all. Cause if I be honest with y'all, I ain't even had no intentions of going there until some folks that I rock with, some family that I rock with, got invited to the event, if I can call it that. It was way much more than an event or all-star weekend, but it was an all-star weekend, because everybody that showed up, not who was put in place so people can show up, but everybody who showed up, was made that weekend an all-star event. You hear me? So I want to give the people props for that, because the only way we can empower people is by pointing people to the power within them. You hear me? So that's always gonna be the main goal, But if wherever you are, you ever get a chance to go to Georgia, visit Stone Mountain, Georgia, man, and test yourself to make it up that mountain. To test yourself to make it up that mountain. I got a better understanding. we think we don't been through some things, but one thing that mountain showed me, we could think we don't been through some things, but one thing that mountain showed me, that the things that we've been through and the ways that we've been through them, ain't nothing like how it's gonna show itself the meaning when you embrace something that require your ability to have the same tolerance for pain and give the same consistency to it, because we don't give ourselves to consistency according to bullshit that we know was bullshit, but we still gave ourselves consistency to it. But when it's something that you ain't gotta do, but you do because you choose to do it, and then once you start, you gotta decide: am I gonna keep going, or am I gonna fold and turn back? And they ain't to discredit everybody who didn't make it, because you gotta get credit where credit is due, It's not for it's the hardest battle in doing anything is just to get started. It's just getting started, especially when it's something that you ain't familiar with. So I don't want to sound in a way that I'm discrediting those who didn't make it, because I almost didn't make it a few times, but that fire was lit in me till I wasn't gonna stop until I got till I made it to the top. And then when I got about three parts there, me and my cousin who beat me there to meet me there. You hear me? My cousin beat me there to meet me there. But as soon as we got like three ways up, we we seen the brother Top Cats encouraging everybody who on their way up. The oldest woman on the top of that mountain was 91 years old. I can't think of her name right now. You know, and that was the oldest elder on that mountain, was 91 years old. You know, the youngest child that can get themselves up the mountain was like 2 years old. So I got to witness everything from 2 years old to 91 years old. Me and everybody else who was present, you know. And then it was so many people there because the people who were there to attend the All-Star Weekend event, you see, was in attendance with people who was already there, people who had already planned to come there in the course of the day, you know. And I'm on the phone back and forth with folks at 3:30, 4:30, 5:40, 5:45 in the morning, up until the time that I get there, because I'm on the road traveling, you know. I'm on the road traveling, you know, making destinations within the journey accordingly, you know. But yeah, it was a beautiful experience, you know. All type of things was going through my mind, the way that mountain was kicking my ass, you know, trying to break me, you know, to not make it up to the top, you know. But yeah. Yeah. The more you learn, the more you change. For everything between 2 and 91, you know, I was learning from. The children was running up it, you know. They got tired here and there, but they was running it. The pain wasn't even nothing that was registering on their mind, you know. And I was watching everything from 2 years old and above to 91 years old, you know, make their way up that mountain. And something just kept telling me, the more you learn, the more you change. And if you ain't changing, it's because you ain't learning. And the reason that we ain't learning ain't no reason but our own, because we got so many examples amongst us each and every day. So you ain't had to be at the mountain to experience what the mountain give us a chance to experience, or give us experience to have each and every day. Each and every day we have to climb mountains through situations, circumstances, you know, conditions, so forth and so on, you know. But the more you learn, the more you change. And if you ain't changing, it's because you ain't learning. And if you ain't learning, you ain't growing. You ain't learning, you ain't growing. Because when you learning provides an opportunity for growth. Learning provides an opportunity for growth. And when that's the choice you make, when that's the way you want to go for growth, ain't no way you can stay the same. Ain't no way you can stay the same. Especially when you know change must occur, will occur, and always occurring. Even if we don't decide to. Even if we don't decide to, change always occurs, you know. And only a fool will stay the same. When change is always making itself present. Change is always making itself present through the experience being had. Through the opportunities that we get, breath by breath, every breath we take, man, Pay attention to your intention, you know, because your intention activates a lot of things. There's so much that I could share, you know, the downloads that I've been receiving. You know, one thing I can say, just like I just said, ain't no way you can stay the same knowing that change must occur. And I'm never staying the same. I'm in a place where I'm always evolving. You know, I'm always spinning. And I'm making my obligation. I'm making my duty. You know, I'm making my focus. I'm making my everything to make sure that I'm always spinning and faster and faster. You see? In all directions. You dig? Faster and faster. You know, and expanding the length of my broadband, my energy, my frequency. You know, if you know, you know. But yeah, you know, I just came through to make contact, cause I broke some contact, you know, and I broke through, you know, and the spirit been dealing with me ever since. The ancestors been dealing with me ever since in a more personal and intimate way than ever before. And it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, you know. The more you can walk away, walking up that mountain. There's some other things that was going on in me that mountain was showing me, you know, walking into all that pain, you know, the outside of my thighs was felt like spaghetti going up them. Then the inside of my thighs felt like spaghetti going down, because going up you like this, going down you got to be like this. You know, meaning this your legs, this the back, this the rest of your this your legs up. You know, this how you got to come down. You know, going up, this head to feet. You gotta go up like this. You gotta come down like this. You know, with that lean back. You hear me? But yeah, I don't know if I'll do it again, but I can say I did this rotation, and I'm gonna carry the memories with me. You know, but and walking into and just that, and if it'll be so beautiful to have the opportunity to interview each and every person that went up that mountain, just to ask them what type of things was going through your mind as you was enduring everything you had to endure to get to the top of that mountain. Cause it was serious, you hear me? You know. But in walking to all that it took me to walk through, according to what was going on in me, so I could walk up it. You know, I realized the more you could walk away, the better your life would be. The more you could walk away from the things that poison your soul, walk away from the conversations that leave you angry, the more you could walk away from the situations for spite's sake that people are like, that people have you in because they, for spite's sake, you know, ain't hard to find. You know, gotta know how to walk away. Walk away from the people that you attempt to please, help, or assist. You know, be a good associate, if not a good friend. You know, gotta walk away from them type of people that don't recognize your value anyway. You know, it may not be easy, you know, but it may not be hard either. You hear me? You gotta know how to walk away from some things. Walk away from the situations that no longer represent who you know yourself to be right now. What's more valuable than your peace if you got it? And what you had to go through to get it, if you have it. I'm talking about your peace. Not the peace you throw up, but the peace of mind. Cause everybody ain't got peace. You hear me? Cause they don't know how to walk away from some things. Walk away from some people. Maybe walk away from some places. You hear me? Yeah. We gotta learn how to walk away from the bullshit to walk into the space we prefer to be in. Because when you're through with the bullshit, when you're through with all the bullshit you done been through to get to where you are today, and you're able to look back at the bullshit for what it was, all the pain, all the struggle, all that fire that you had to endure, all that fire that we had to endure to walk through, all that fire that we had to walk through in different life experience, through different life experience, all that fire. We don't ever have to remember it unless we want to. We don't ever have to remember what it took for us to get through it, to make it through it, unless we want to. And if we do, and if we remember it, and if we bring it up, let's make sure that we use it to speak life into somebody else's life. You hear me? Who said Sawu was gone? Yeah, man, we're gonna be tapping back in, man. We're gonna be tapping back in. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'ma just do accordingly, cause every time I say something, you know, things be taking off. So I'm gonna be aware of my speech. But I came through to make my presence felt, you know. Sometimes when you want to make contact, you gotta break contact, you know. So when further contact is being made, it's got a different to it. You hear me? But yeah, man, I'm feeling good for no reason at all. You hear me? Remember, one person in alignment worth a million who not, and it's a million who not. Make sure that ain't you. Until we tap in again, you feel me? Thanks for the likes, shares, comments, questions. Thanks for the birthday shout outs. Thanks for the birthday cash outs. I appreciate y'all who remember. What else I wanted to announce? Like I said, I got a lot of footage. You know, I gotta chop it up to the best of my ability. Put it together, but I got a lot of footage. So yeah, man, it's even though I'm back in the residence, man, it's like I'm still on travel. I'm still on travel. It's amazing. Life is beautiful. You hear me? Regardless of what appear, life is beautiful. You know, and if you got that, and if you got that mental aptitude, that type of mental discipline, you know, life is beautiful regardless of how it appear. You know, life gonna be beautiful regardless of what appear. You hear me? Because it's not what we experience. You know, it's how we choose to view, how we observe it, how we choose to feel about the experiences that being had. So even the worst experience could bring about the best outcome, the best emotional outcome at that. You see, because we all don't view the same things in the same way, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, and to those of us who could rise above it, you know, there's an obligation upon us to be that type of view for those who don't see like we do yet. You hear me? So until we do it again, I'm known as Sawu, be you how you be you. I thank y'all, and I thank y'all, and I thank y'all again. You hear me? And until we do it again, peace.